Hello and welcome to another brand new video. We have some interesting news to go and cover as of today. Now, as of the past 24 hours, we've been seeing a lot of news. The Switch 2. Well, that's kind of a joke because the video's gonna be all about PlayStation, but if you guys did miss it, the Switch 2 was announced. But when it comes to this news, we're seeing a lot more cancellations on PlayStation games and kind of the big major focus of PlayStation completely switching gears. Now, as you guys have probably seen throughout the last few years, we've been seeing a major push on live service games. Games like Fortnite, Rocket League, even things like Apex, I don't know, Pug. There are so many random games out there, but mainly, if you just want to use the PlayStation example, Helldivers 2. And while we've also had some big major flops, such as Concord, Destruction All-Stars, and probably even some games you don't even remember the names of because I kind of don't myself, even as a PlayStation, Twitch streamer, whatever it might be, I am. And well, it's just been kind of diving into some really weird situations where PlayStation's now being caught losing a lot of money. And as of right now, there's some major news that happened in the past 24 hours where it seems like games like the God of War multiplayer experience live service game has now been officially canceled. Same thing too as well with Blue Point, which has also made some crazy games like Demon Souls on the remake remaster. And well, people are both excited and scared and hyped and also mad and pretty much every emotion out there depending on how you guys look at it. So of course that probably makes the best video topics for me because I want to hear your thoughts and comments on all this down below. So subscribe if you guys are new. We're getting very close to 70,000 subs. Love to have you guys on here. We are still technically on a YouTube break and we will probably have to take a few days off in the near future, so keep that in mind. But there's been a lot of news, Switch news, all this news, so we're going to talk about it first and foremost. So subscribe here, follow the Twitter for updates, and of course we have the Twitter and Twitch down below, so obviously go check that out. So this has been taking the internet by storm. Like, there has been crazy news over here. Start off from a Bloomberg article, talk about how there's been two major PlayStation games that have been officially canceled, which one was a live service game from Ben Studio, as well another live service God of War game at Blue Point too as well. So we're seeing crazy things out here, and this is kind of big because if you guys have missed it, like, we've actually even had a list over here too of a lot of major games, especially from major IPs. And there's like the high level of this is that I actually am not anti live service, but live service is very difficult to pull off, where sometimes I almost feel like it's a rare niche. Now, things like Marvel Rivals, that just has probably unlimited budget with IPs and, name familiarity, so that's going to do pretty much great regardless, as long as that game doesn't completely suck. And I'll be honest, Marvel Rivals has been phenomenal. They basically just took the hero shooter Overwatch format and, well, just added superheroes to it, and in all honesty, probably made the game a little bit better. Like, I feel like they've had some cool formats, such as the Battle Pass always being free, the fact that just a lot of recognizable characters, you got a lot of like normie folks out there, like, John that's working in accounting, and maybe some guy who's over here helping out on your lawns. Like, these guys are like just the normal dudes playing games. They're not maybe on YouTube or Twitch 24/7, and they pick up the game when they come home and enjoy it. But that's like kind of how it did well. Or look at Helldivers. That was, in all honesty, kind of a lucky break from PlayStation. Great game, and I enjoyed it, but I think everyone would probably collectively agree that it was kind of a rare success. But we've also now had Concord, which, if you guys saw the Concord itself, that was hundreds of millions of dollars thrown down the trash. This unannounced God of War game that we're talking about as of right now, the main focal point of this, has now been canceled, which was meant to be a live service multiplayer version, which, I'll be honest with you guys, it seemed like a stretch. I mean, even in my head, I'm sure there's potential. Like, I'm sure you watching this video can probably sit there and think about some cool ideas, but like something like God of War, I don't think it fits well with a live service game. Like, I think it does well on a single player experience. Last was multiplayer, although has been somewhat proven, and I do think games like DayZ, Arma type style games, like these survival games, Escape from Tarkov, even Call of Duty in that new game mode would fit really well with Last of Us. And I saw the vision of that game. I've seen other games in that survival genre do well, so that one being canceled surprised me. Spider-Man multiplayer, I could see that doing well. Look at Marvel Rivals, although Spider-Man's actually in it, but I can kind of see that being kind of a fun game, although maybe hard for like live service. And then as well, they also had this Ben Studio multiplayer game canceled, Twisted Metal, which I'm not sure why they canceled that as well. I do feel like a multiplayer Twisted Metal would also just kind of be in that same boat of like a Rocket League, where you just make it fun, be goofy, and kind of take back some of that. Why would that be canceled? London Studios co-op game too as well. Co-op games are dope. Like, you even look at things like It Takes Two and all those various split-screen multiplayer games, and that's like a fun genre. Like, this is like, I think, stuff I would like. Deviation Games multiplayer game was canceled. Also, Payback, the third-person Destiny spinoff from Bungie, was also canceled. Now that one would maybe make sense. I think my kind of thought process on that one from the Bungie side is it was most likely been bought over by PlayStation, and they probably went through the list of potential games and decided to go and cancel it. But the big news has been flown around everywhere. is that as of right now, these two major big games have now been added on the cancellation list. So saying over here that Sony has reportedly canceled two unannounced live service games that were in development at Bend Studio and Bluepoint Games, respectively. Bloomberg reports that Sony has ended production on two live service games that were in the works at Bend Studio, best known for the zombie game Days Gone, and another separate game in the works at Bluepoint Games, best known for the remasters of games like Shadow of the Colossus and the Demon's Souls remake. The Bluepoint game was reportedly a live service God of War game, according to Jason Schreier. A Sony spokesperson confirmed that cancellations to Bloomberg. Sony also added that neither studios will be closed and that they will still work with them to determine what their next projects are. And this is where things kind of get crazy, because as of right now, there's major games going down. Like, basically, they closed down the Concord developer Firewalk Studio, oversaw layoffs at Bungie, canceled numerous online projects like Naughty Dog's The Last of Us PvP game, a rumored Spider-Man Online game, a live Twisted Metal game, and a third-person Destiny spinoff titled Payback, we just covered. So basically, we still have Marathon in the works, which I think is meant to be like a live service game from the initial early leaks from like Escape from Tarkov. So like you have a bunch of people load into a map, you kind of fight it on out with like PvP and PvE with monsters and real players, and maybe try to leave. Like you have like 20 minutes in a zone, kind of like a BR, but opposite, like the BR with the goal to leave rather than a BR to be like the last one in a circle. And there's also rumors too as well for Horizon games, which I do believe as of right now is meant to be maybe like a Monster Hunter type co-op experience, which I'm into. And as well, also another one being an MMO, which I might be into. But basically, it just kind of seems like they all like threw like $1 billion into all these major IPs. Look, God of War, you're seeing Last of Us, you're seeing all these games from Bungie, like the Payback game, which is a spinoff. Like we're seeing all their major IPs, and they're just like, here's an unlimited budget, live services doing great. Look at Fortnite, let's go and copy it. And I want to say I don't disagree. But I do think a lot of PlayStation games, in a weird way, they don't really have a loyal fan base, which is, you just hear me out. Think of a game like, say, The Last of Us multiplayer games that they've had, like in factions and stuff like that. It's like Uncharted, Last of Us, where they're cool. They'll have a niche game community, but it's not like 100,000 plus people playing it nonstop, but they'll have a few thousand folks, and it's a fun game experience. But like, that's not really like a good live service game for PlayStation. Now, an indie game, sure, that'd be great, but for PlayStation, no. So it's like Helldivers was a rarity. But Concord was never, just by fundamentally for me being a gamer, I knew it was not going to work. I knew it wasn't going to be a good game. So that's where things get weird, because they blew so much money. And it kind of sucks because people are kind of mad about this. Like if you kind of go through on like, say, like the Reddit page for this type of stuff and people talking about this, there is people being like, why would you think this was even a good idea? And I kind of agree. Like, God, I just didn't see it. Like, I mean, I'm sure you guys maybe could, and I'm sure if they made the God tier game of all times, but it's like, to me, it's a single player game. Not everything is like Last of Us, I'd be cool with that. But like, yeah, it's strange. But like a lot of people are being like, hey man, this sucks. Like basically like they're having to go and have all them go and just do this weird live service a lot. How many years of work has Sony wasted on this live service initiative? Think of the opportunity cost here. How many great single player games could have been gotten if Sony just stuck to what made them good? And they were up to like 12 games. We kind of covered a lot of that list at the start of the video. And people are like, concern, because this is also maybe why the PlayStation 5 has been such a dry cycle. Now, we've had some good games, don't get me wrong, and I think it probably would be arguably better than, say, Xbox or even Nintendo recently. Not that it's like, you know, the back and forth, because I think Nintendo is going to have some cool games coming soon, and I do as well think Xbox, like, give me Fable, give me Avowed, I'm hyped up for it. But at the same time, like, this was just a big flop. Like, it was just a weird period of like 4 or 5 years where I feel like gaming never really progressed. Like graphically, sure, and consoles, sure, but gaming as a whole, I don't think it really went over there. Like we didn't see like any major games. Like sure, Marvel Rivals is cool, but that's just basically Overwatch reskin. Helldivers is, in all honesty, kind of unique. I enjoyed it. That was cool, but it's not really changing stuff. It's just kind of utilizing new technology. Still cool though. Don't get me wrong. We have things, you know, like VR and whatever Nintendo's gonna be pulling out with the Switch too, but still, like, people are weird. But people are saying like this is wasted. Look at this. 3 to 4 years making a live service game no one wanted that ended up just getting canceled. And then look at things like Concord. That was multiple years with hundreds of millions of dollars that they could have invested into different things, and they decided not to. And some people are like, this is great news. It's awesome. But then some people are also saying terrible news too, because, well, we expected something new. So it just kind of depends on how your wording is and the semantics. But I kind of agree. Like, I think live service, the hot take of this one, like the final opinion, I think it's worth for them to make them. Like, if they've been working on these games for a while and there's potential, why not? But your PlayStation, you have the money. Maybe just hire more people. Like, there's nothing wrong with like doing these weird spin-offs that might fail, but you need to also not cancel the normal games that people are waiting for. Like, you don't want to go and delay the next Last of Us just to make a multiplayer. But if you give us a multiplayer to hold us over into the next Last of Us, that's a win. Like, everyone wins in that one. But at the end of the day, I guess I'm not these big head honchos, because I probably would have not had like 12 live service games at once. Maybe like 2 a year, kind of blow them on out, you know, maybe do 4 at max, or like I said, hire smaller teams and do some experimental stuff, kind of how they've been doing with various games. World of Warcraft sometimes does that, where they have smaller dev teams of like 15, 20, 30 people who are very passionate and they work very hard. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's a big deal for PlayStation then, so it just seems like they just wasted a bunch of money. Would love to hear your thoughts and comments and everything down below. Subscribe if you guys are new, and of course, if you guys want to help us on the 70K dream, we have the Twitters and Twitch down below, and leave a like and your thoughts. I appreciate y'all for watching.